Oh boy, this is great. What a day! And I still have about 20 minutes left. Samp maze. Wonder what that is. By working through this puzzle, you will be making some crucial decisions about the future of Hackensack Meadowlands, an area of national significance for its economic and environmental value. Sounds complicated. Oh, what the heck, I'll give it a shot. What? Where am I? Special Area Management Plan. That's what SAMP stands for. The Hackensack Meadowlands District is a place of tremendous value and importance. For decades now, federal, state, and local agencies have worked separately to restore the wetlands of this region, long a dumping ground for garbage and industrial waste. Much progress has been made in restoring ecological balance for the many forms of life, including human, which thrive here. Now it is your task to make decisions about the future based on both the environmental and development needs of the region. Wow. I never knew so much was at stake. Well, here I go.
The Hackensack Meadowlands Development Commission, or HMDC, was created in 1969 to respond to the overwhelming economic and environmental degradation that resulted from the practices dating back to the 19th century. The HMDC was given a threefold task: to provide for the orderly development of the area, to provide for the protection of the environment, and to provide facilities for the disposal of solid waste. Since its creation, the Commission has been highly successful in realizing these objectives. For example, the protection of some 1,400 acres of wetlands in the Sawmill Creek Basin resulted from the HMDC's opposition to new landfills. The Commission has documented progress in water quality of the Hackensack River, the centerpiece of the district, by regulation of industrial discharges and upgraded municipal sewage treatment, and the introduction of the solid waste baler, the largest operating in the world, maximizes the use of existing landfills and stands as another example of the HMDC's work in meeting its statutory obligations. But beginning in the early 1980s, it became apparent that the federal regulations affecting wetlands were impeding the HMDC's ability to fulfill one of its main tasks, that of providing for the orderly development of some of the area. Prospective gains to the region and the state in jobs, taxes, and the continuing ability to fund environmental improvements were and still are in jeopardy.
Well, I'll try this way. Oh, what is that smell? Oh, garbage.
The HMDC realized early on that to follow a hands-off policy with regard to the district wetlands was unreasonable and irresponsible. Too much damage had already been done for the simple approach of let nature take its course to work. Instead, nature's balance had to be restored in many, many acres of wetlands. Recognizing the need for comprehensive planning for the protection and management of wetlands, the HMDC and 4 other agencies, the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection and Energy, and the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, made a unique agreement in 1988. They agreed to prepare a Special Area Management Plan, or SAMP, for the 32-square-mile district comprised of portions of Hudson and Bergen counties. Development of this SAMP has taken 6 years of intensive discussion, research, and compromise. Today, the opportunity exists to make the Hackensack Meadowlands District a significant national showplace for the planning and management of an urban ecosystem. Far from taking a hands-off approach, the plan calls for the use of state-of-the-art management and technology in restoring and mitigating these precious lands.
Preserve wetlands, develop responsibly. Oh, of course, that must be the way.
Under the Special Area Management Plan, economic development would be in harmony with the environment. To create that harmony of economic and environmental interests, the 5 SAMP partners propose these objectives for the district. 1. The centerpiece of the SAMP is an Environmental Improvement Program, or EIP. This program requires that any plans adopted for the future of the Meadowlands will involve no net loss of wetland values and will ensure net overall environmental benefit. A detailed 20-year program with close to a $1 billion price tag, the EIP protects vital natural resources and addresses hazardous and solid waste problems in the district's 1,000 acres of landfills. It also provides for flood control, open space, and recreation, as well as improvement to air and water quality. 2. Management of approximately 6,000 acres of presently unfilled wetlands in the district. 3. Transportation improvements including highway extensions, rail connections, and enhanced bus service to accommodate the new needs of the region. 4. The fulfillment of economic and housing goals in the form of 3 principal mixed-use development centers within the district: Meadowlands Town Center, Harmon Meadow, and Allied Junction, plus numerous other satellite areas throughout the district. And 5. Long-term monitoring by an interagency group to ensure our first objective, that is, no net loss of wetland values and net environmental benefit.
I think I'll try this way. What? Try again next year. Oh boy, this is going to take a lot more thought than I realized.
Because regional economic development over the next 20 years is an essential part of the SAMP, it cannot be considered in a piecemeal way, but rather with comprehensive goals for the entire district. Those goals are the development of office space, new residential units, including an affordable housing component of not less than 20% of the total new units built, manufacturing and warehousing space, commercial space, mass transit and roadway improvements to keep pace with these changes, and the creation of thousands of new jobs. If the master plan proposed by the SAMP partners is adopted, these economic goals can be fulfilled while protecting close to 90% of the remaining vacant wetlands in the district and addressing other crucial environmental problems. What's more, there would finally be a certainty of tax dollars for the municipalities affected by development. In the past, towns looked at the potential for property tax revenue based simply on zoning maps. Now, the SAMP, which designates specific wetland fill areas, will provide a realistic picture of just what that tax potential is. It is because the SAMP takes a comprehensive approach to the district over the next 2 decades that a balance between development and protection of the environment can be ensured, and all parties concerned can finally have a clear picture of the future.
Legal impasse? What am I supposed to do now? Accelerated path to permit processing.
Up until now, property owners who wish to apply for a fill permit in the Meadowlands often face the prospect of 5 to 8 years of waiting for an answer, as well as an intimidating amount of paperwork. At the end of the process, there was no guarantee that their request would be approved. They might be denied the fill permit or still not have a definite answer. The Special Area Management Plan drastically changes and accelerates the permit application process. First of all, a record of decision will cite particular areas which will be slated for fill and non-fill status. In other words, all applicants will know ahead of time if their property has a likelihood of being approved for development. Secondly, the criteria for completing the permit application will be provided in a clear, concise checklist. Applicants will know exactly what is required, again before beginning the process. This regulatory certainty, knowing ahead of time which areas are slated for fill status, and knowing precisely what is required to apply for a permit, is a fundamental improvement that promises to cut out the legal jams of the past. In the same spirit, once an application is submitted, it will be reviewed quickly and efficiently based on parameters set forth in the SAMP. How fast is fast? The SAMP partners predict a 6-month to 1-year turnaround for fill permit requests. According to its supporters, once this innovative plan is adopted, all concerned parties will know what the future of the Meadowlands holds. It's a blueprint for certainty.
Whoa, wait a second. Sorry, no fill permit granted. You're stuck with undevelopable property. Oh, great. Hey. Great.
Several compensation methods are included in the SAMP to address those areas designated as non-fill. If, therefore, you own land in a designated non-fill area, you will be given the opportunity to achieve some economic return from your land. That is the idea behind the Transfer of Development Rights system, which is proposed in the Environmental Improvement Program, the centerpiece of the SAMP. The Transfer of Development Rights is a system by which some property owners receiving fill permits would compensate property owners not receiving permit approvals. The method used to determine which areas should receive fill permits and which should be preserved is fully outlined in the EIP and includes several criteria: location, access, utilities, lot size, and wetland quality. Just as developers will finally receive the go-ahead or compensation for their land, so those in charge of environmental remediation in the Meadowlands will begin to receive an influx of funding for their work. Since neither the Hmdc itself nor other government programs are in a position to provide more than just a portion of such funding, the office growth projected in the district has been identified as one of the sources of funding for environmental improvement. The Hmdc has estimated the costs and potential funding sources for the many environmental programs needed in the district. These estimates have been put forth in the Environmental Improvement Program and, as mentioned earlier, total close to $1 billion. Funding is anticipated to come from government sources, HMDC-sponsored funding sources, which will account for almost half of the funding and include such things as landfill disposal fees and new office and commercial growth. The environmental programs to be funded reflect the comprehensive approach needed to ensure that the Hackensack Meadowlands thrive and flourish, leaving their legacy of natural degradation far in the past. From solid waste management to contaminated land reclamation, flood control to wetland enhancement, historic preservation to the creation of parks, paths, ball fields, and promenades, these programs are something everyone in the district can agree on. It is with hopes for such agreement that the many individuals who have collaborated on the Special Area Management Plan now turn to you. It's an ambitious plan, one that can serve as a model for the state. It calls for discussion, evaluation, and ultimately support if the Meadowlands are to be a treasured New Jersey resource well into the future. Finally, it's a plan worthy of this rare urban estuary, which is important not only on the local level, but also from a regional, national, and global perspective.
Oh, at last. Congratulations. You have successfully completed the SAMP maze. The sound decisions you have made show that you possess an understanding of both the environmental requirements and developmental needs of the Meadowlands region.